Hey, welcome to another Kickstart Monday. Hope you're having a good week so far. I know it's only Monday, but here's to hoping the rest of the week goes well for you. Pastor G was a little under the weather and couldn't tape this Kickstart, so I'm just jumping in here. I want to share a thought with you that I have. I often get asked, I'm a worship leader, so I lead worship not only at my home church and at Roberts, but at other places. And people have asked me, what's your favorite place to worship? What type of experience do you like to have? And, as a young kid, I grew up in an Assemblies of God church, which is more charismatic and the music was really expressive and we had people with flags and dancers and all kinds of crazy things. And as I got older, I got to experience some other expressions of worship, which got me thinking, even as a younger person, well, what is the right way to worship? And what is the right experience to have? And so I want to challenge you with something today that I think is important as you sort of develop your faith and you kind of come into your own as a follower of Christ. That God is not in one style of worship, but is in many different styles of worship. In John chapter 4, verses 19 through 24, it says this. "Sir," the woman said, "you must be a prophet. So tell me, why is it that you Jews insist that Jerusalem is the only place to worship, while we Samaritans claim it is here at Mount Gerizim, where our ancestors worshiped?" Jesus replied, "Believe me, dear woman, the time is coming when it will no longer matter whether you worship the Father on this mountain or in Jerusalem." And then skipping to verse 23. "But the time is coming, indeed it's here now, when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. The Father is looking for those who worship him that way. For God is spirit, so those who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth." I love this, what Jesus says to this Samaritan woman, because she's asking him, well, where do we worship? Is it on this mountain, or is it in Jerusalem where, the Jews say is where we're supposed to worship? And Jesus says, it won't matter actually where you worship. I'm looking for people that will worship me in spirit and in truth. In other words, Jesus was saying to them, I'm not looking for a type of worship. I'm looking for a type of worshiper. And I've often been struck by that because I get asked that a lot. Well, what is the right style of worship? What is the right, form? And a friend of mine said to me a long time ago that there are many forms of worship, meaning worship changes from church to church. You got your liturgical services, you got your more contemporary services, you got people that just take a walk in the woods and call that worship. And, my friend said there's going to be many forms of worship, but the function should always remain the same, and that is to worship Jesus. And forms come and go, right? Like I know from growing up that, I started off in a church that just sang hymns, and then eventually it became this contemporary style of worship. And then it got even more contemporary. And now there's in some circles, this return back to hymns and things like that. So forms are going to change often with society and with our culture. But the function of those forms always should remain the same, and that we look to Christ. And I think that's what Jesus was saying to this Samaritan woman, is that don't worry so much about where you worship or what style of worship it is. Worry more about the function of those worship, the function behind those styles, which is to worship me in spirit and in truth. And I believe that as you evolve, as you kind of grow in your faith, God is going to challenge you with the forms. He's going to put you in many different scenarios where he's going to say, I want you to worship me through this form. But remember that the function always stays the same. It's to come back to me. It's to come back to the heart of worship, which is Jesus Christ. So I want to challenge you just quickly with this thing, that as you go throughout life, I would challenge you to put yourself in scenarios where you're not used to, the form. You're not used to the style. And, I know for me as a young kid, I remember the first time that this friend of mine who was a pastor took me out to the woods, and we were walking around, and he said, I want you to take a second. I want you to just worship God here. And I didn't have my guitar. I didn't have a big sound system. I didn't have, the things that I knew, growing up to be like what we called worship time. It was totally quiet. It was like really serene. And it took me a minute to just be able to focus, because it was so quiet. It wasn't surrounded by all of the extra things that my usual form provided for me. And as I stood out there and I just said, God, I've never even thought about this place being a place where I can just pause and think about you and pray and call this worship. And I did, and as I started to just kind of reflect, I thought, man, God is in so many different forms. God can be in your car ride. God can be in your walk in the woods. God can be in the noisy atmosphere of your church, or maybe the somber atmosphere of your church. God is in all of those forms. And that God is not concerned about a type of worship. He's more concerned with finding a type of worshiper, a person who is open to experiencing God in many different atmospheres, in many different surroundings, many different places. And just like, me as a musician, I got to walk into different types of services and be able to adapt, and also be able to worship myself and be comfortable in those spaces.
Narrow as the road may seem, I'll follow where your spirit leads. And broken as my life may be, I will give you every piece. I hear you call, I am available. I say, yes, Lord, I am Here I am with open hands, counting on your grace again. Less of me and more of you. I just wanna see you move. Oh, I hear you call, I am available. I say, yes, Lord, I am available. And here I am, here I am. You can have it all, you can is a sacrifice. Use me how you want to, God. Have you thrown within my heart? I hear you call. I am available. I say yes, Lord. I am available.
So may you, as a follower of Christ, experience many different forms, but always understand that God is the function of those forms. And may you feel comfortable to worship God in an atmosphere, in a concert-like setting, but also in the quiet times of your life. May you find God in all those places. God bless you.